Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now live at 4 on this Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. A little steamy out there.
A little steamy. Not a good day to be gardening.
No, but if you have any plant or garden questions, Lisa Briggs will be taking your calls. We'll let you know when to call in coming up a little later in this hour. But first, here's what's making news on this Tuesday. A developer has backed out of the project to redevelop Madison's Essen House.
A Janesville man caught an attempted robber on his doorbell video camera. We'll talk with the homeowner who was inside when it happened.
And critics say President Trump is politicizing a non-political holiday with a march planned for Thursday in the nation's capital. We'll share the latest from Washington.
And this just wrapped up moments ago. Mark and I haven't gotten a thing done all afternoon.
Well, we got to watch a soccer game.
The U.S. soccer team is moving on to the World Cup finals. Team USA played England today in the semifinal round. The winner will now go on to play either Sweden or the Netherlands on Sunday. Boy, was that an exciting game. And Megan Rapinoe didn't even play.
They're saving her for the finals.
I hope so.
Yeah,
you know, Dave is a huge soccer fan, too. Dave Caulfield.
Oh, he is?
Oh, yes, he is. Let's take a look outside. We'll do the weather words, and then we'll toss it out to Dave. Oh, that's a nice shot. Has the lake all to himself.
Yep. Still staying sticky are the weather words. Let's go to the backyard weather patio. Dave?
Were you watching the game?
Oh, yeah. I got my USA tie on and everything. That was a great game, enthralling. Luckily, I built my show ahead of time because otherwise I wouldn't have any graphics to show you at this point. But Doppler track showing a few strong thunderstorms moving into Milwaukee. For most of southern Wisconsin, though, south central Wisconsin, that is, we're pretty quiet on Doppler track. A few light showers showing up across portions of Columbia and Dodge counties, but that's about it at this time. There still could be some showers and storms this evening, especially across southern Wisconsin. Madison, we could see some of those clouds building a little bit on the WISC-TV Skycam. Definitely enough humidity to get a few showers and storms to form. Temperatures right now, we have hit 90 for the second time this year. In Madison, 91 in Janesville, 90 in Boscobel, and 91 in Prairie du Chien. You factor in that humidity, though, it feels like 97 in Janesville. Felt like the triple digits in Kenosha just an hour ago. Right now we're feeling like the mid to upper 90s across southern Wisconsin, and temperatures will fall through the 80s and 70s this evening, especially if we get those showers and thunderstorms to form. Those temperatures will really drop quickly with that rain-cooled air. So have the umbrella ready to go. Now let's take a look at our first alert traffic update. That's not a great look for our traffic camera, so let's just skip it for now. We are looking at no major accidents or incidents across Dane County, which is good news, but we are starting to see some of those typical delays on the Beltline for the Tuesday afternoon commute home. Eastbound Verona Road to John Nolan, that's running a little bit slow at 10 minutes right now with an average speed of around 25 miles per hour. That is your first alert traffic update. We'll go hour by hour, talk about sticky storm chances over the next couple of days into the 4th of July holiday in your first alert forecast.
All right, repeat day after day.
Exactly.
All right, Dave, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. First at 4, the developer who planned to tear down the Essen House and some of the other buildings on Wilson Street downtown has pulled his bid.
The project would have created an apartment building and commercial space, but because the area is one of Madison's historic districts, there are specific standards it needed to meet. Our Amanda Quintana is on Wilson Street with the details. Amanda.
Yes, well, this is considered the heart of the first settlement district, so where Madison was created, right here. But with that comes some design needs and constraints if you want to develop in this area. And people have been trying to do that for more than 10 years. A developer has been trying to find something to meet those needs and those constraints, but it has not happened yet. Now, the latest developer, Lance McGrath, has also decided to pull out. The Landmarks Commission looked at the project last week and had concerns, but the commission chair says they didn't vote to reject it, but rather said the way it was didn't seem like it would work.
I think there should be a development here, but it should be a properly scaled development that honors the First Settlement Historic District, that honors the Wilson Street National Historic District, that honors the surrounding neighborhood, and also is economically viable. And that's the sweet spot that this project didn't quite meet, but I hope going forward we can.
Levitan says this area on East Wilson, being a National Historic District, also complicated things some more. So for now, Essen House is still open. Owner Bob Worm is staying positive, though, confident that eventually a developer will come along that can meet everyone's needs. We will hear from Bob, who owns all three of these buildings you see here. We'll hear from him at 5 o'clock. He's still staying positive, and he thinks that whether a developer wants to tear it down or keep Essen House here, he's open to that change.
We will see you at 5. Amanda Quintana, live downtown. Thanks, Amanda.
Well, Sub-Zero is expanding its operations. The company, which makes refrigeration, cooking, and dishwashing appliances, says it'll be building a 350,000 square foot research and development facility in Fitchburg. The $70 million project expected to create 100 jobs over the next 3 years.
The Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs has released the name of the state employee who died at Volk Field near Camp Douglas. 40-year-old Nicholas Jans died yesterday morning while performing his duties at the air base. A DMA spokesperson says he was replacing a runway light bulb when he touched a live electrical source. A Sun Prairie School District employee has been arrested for allegedly having inappropriate sexual conversations with a teenage student. Police say 42-year-old Michael A. Johnson was an employee for the district working at Sun Prairie High School. He's accused of engaging in inappropriate conversations and spreading explicit photos with a 16-year-old female student. The behavior was reported to police by school staff in late June. Johnson is currently in the Dane County Jail. Janesville police say they're on the hunt for a man who tried to break into a home on the city's east side. It was a moment captured on camera. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us from the Bureau at the Janesville Gazette with how a home security system is helping police on their search. Adam.
Well, Mark and Susan, Brian Spigarelli has been living on Janesville's east side for just about a month now and says he was totally shocked when last week his phone told him someone was trying to break in. Now, this is the video from that, and it shows a man coming up to Spigarelli's front porch wearing a hoodie, opening the glass door, and then trying to open the front door. And when he sees the camera, he tries to cover it up before he leaves. And Spigarelli says he was sleeping at the time and saw the alert when he woke up.
I found out a little bit later in the day, about 9 o'clock, I found out that I had a missed alert about 5:15 in the morning. I clicked the video, and then boom, I saw his face right away, you know. My heart instantly dropped, you know, like, holy crap, he's really trying to break into my house.
He says he filed a report with police who are now trying to find the man responsible. JPD says today that they're thankful for tools like that front porch camera because it helps them do just that, find the person responsible. And coming up tonight at 6, you're going to hear more from police, how they say you can protect you and your family from would-be break-ins like this one. All right, we'll see you at 6. Adam Dexter reporting live from the Bureau at the Janesville Gazette. Thank you.
A man accused of killing a Milwaukee police officer while driving drunk has pleaded not guilty to felony charges. 34-year-old Dante James waived his preliminary hearing in Milwaukee today and is set to go to trial. James was allegedly driving the car that crashed into a car driven by Officer Koo Her last month. Her was on his way home after his shift when he was killed.
Lawmakers got an up-close look at the immigration crisis at the Mexican border yesterday, describing deplorable conditions under the watch of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The outrage comes as President Trump is threatening to deport more illegal migrants. Congressman Joaquin Castro shot cell phone video of women in Border Patrol custody. He says some detained migrants have been denied medication and showers. Castro is one of several members of the Hispanic caucus who toured detention facilities in Texas. CBS News has confirmed a new Department of Homeland Security Inspector General report is expected this week that'll describe conditions at some facilities as cramped and dangerous. Texas Senator Ted Cruz also was on the southern border on Monday.
The responsibility for this crisis lies directly on the United States Congress, on loopholes that Congress has put into law that are encouraging far too many people to make this arduous journey.
On Monday, President Trump signed a $4.6 billion bill in humanitarian aid, but he also threatened more deportations. Trump did not say exactly when the apprehensions would start.
Leaders around the world are trying to diffuse the escalating tensions with Iran. At a meeting with Ireland's foreign minister, Russia's top diplomat called on Iran to show restraint and observe the provisions of the 2015 nuclear deal and urged the EU to help save the accord. The comments come after Iran announced it has exceeded its limit on enriched uranium stockpiles in violation of the terms.
The commitment of the EU is a very strong one to try and protect this agreement. We believe it's in everybody's interest that happens.
No message to Iran. They know what they're doing. They know what they're playing with, and I think they're playing with fire.
The White House issued a statement vowing maximum pressure against the regime and said Tehran was violating the terms of the nuclear agreement, quote, even before the deal's existence. Seriously was the one-word response from Iran's foreign minister. It would still take another year for Iran to have enough uranium to make its first nuclear weapon.
Preparations are underway for the July 4th celebration in the nation's capital. It'll feature military bands, a military flyover, fireworks, and a presidential address. But as Nicole Killian reports, critics say the president is politicizing a non-political holiday.
The finishing touches are being put in place along the National Mall for President Trump's salute to America. He tweeted, "The Pentagon and our great military leaders are thrilled to be doing this and showing to the American people, among other things, the strongest and most advanced military anywhere in the world. Incredible flyovers and biggest ever fireworks."
It'll be special, and I hope a lot of people come.
But the Independence Day celebration is already sparking fireworks in the nation's capital.
He's politicized the 4th of July before he opens his mouth.
D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton raised concerns about the display of military tanks on the National Mall. Those tanks arrived at a D.C. rail yard Tuesday and will be transported through the city on trucks.
I don't think it helps to have heavy equipment on the mall. Even if it were on flatbed trucks, because it's weight.
Some are also criticizing the plan, which includes a ticketed VIP section here at the Lincoln Memorial where President Trump will speak. But the White House insists the event will be open to the public and his message will be unifying.
Dramatically, how wonderful this country is, our troops and military, our great democracy, and great call to patriotism.
The National Park Service tells CBS News it expects hundreds of thousands of visitors.
Certainly going to be more expensive than previous years. Anytime you get a presidential visit, there are inherent security costs.
The full costs of the festivities won't be known until after it's all over. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
And protesters are also expected to descend on the nation's capital during the Salute to America event, which begins at 5:30 p.m. Madison time. Local and federal law enforcement officials say they'll be staffed to handle the president's address, protests, as well as other local July 4th events.
There's more at 4. When we come back, we're heading to the Fancy Food Show in New York.
What's trendy this year? Well, food companies with a conscience. A look inside the $150 billion a year specialty food business when Live at 4 continues.
Well, you want to check your pantries because there is a new recall out.
Some Green Giant, Trader Joe's, and Signature Farms packaged vegetables have been recalled due to possible contamination with listeria. According to the Food and Drug Administration, affected products include butternut squash, cauliflower, zucchini, and vegetable bowls. Listeria causes the typical unpleasant food poisoning symptoms, but it can be fatal to children and elderly people and cause pregnant women to miscarry. No frozen nor canned vegetables have been recalled.
Nike is pulling an American flag-themed sneaker ahead of a planned July 4th release. This after NFL star turned activist Colin Kaepernick raised concerns that the shoe features what some see as a racially insensitive version of the flag. The Betsy Ross flag represents the 13 colonies during the era of slavery and has reportedly been adopted as a symbol by some white nationalist groups.
Investors on Wall Street apparently are shrugging off trade uncertainties. The Dow Industrials added 69 points, closing at 26,786 for a record high close. The Nasdaq Composite Index added almost 18, and the S&P 500 closed at a record high for the second straight day, adding 8 more points. Well, this year's hottest specialty food trends were on display at the Fancy Food Show in New York. I love the title.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like an on location that we should probably go to. Hillary Lane has more on the eats that are big on flavor and making a big impact.
Decadent chocolate, award-winning olive oil, and West African grain. Delicious foods with a social conscience. At the 2019 Fancy Food Show in New York, companies with a mission to give back are trending.
We build bridges between divided communities.
Hadass Lahav's company, Sindiana of Galilee, partners Arabs and Israelis to produce olive oil and other products. From job opportunities for Arab women and work with Arab farmers, to the bottle artwork created by Arab and Israeli children. They want to be an example of how Arab and Jewish people can live in peace.
We think this is better for the future of our children, and this will be better for both sides.
Specialty foods is a $150 billion industry, largely driven by millennials.
They're not particularly
Denise Purcell of the Specialty Food Association says young people want the companies they buy from to share their values.
They're becoming more interested in what the company is about, not just how the product is made, but the people behind it and what they stand for.
Our purpose is to increase per capita income in rural West Africa.
Philip Tevero partnered with chef Pierre Cham to found Yolele, a company that sells fonio, an ancient grain grown by small farmers in West Africa. The company is creating jobs in the region and introducing more consumers to fonio.
People are ready for the new tastes, and they haven't experienced West African food by and large.
And they're eager to try new products that are trying to make the world a better place. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
Other mission-driven companies, including a falafel company that employs Syrian refugees and another working to fight food waste by recycling, which is using waste from one product to make another.
Yeah, upcycling the clay.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. Well, stay with us. If you're thinking about heading to the lake after a round of storms, we'll share why you want to be aware of the current water quality.
And here's what's coming up tonight at 5, a story you'll only see on News 3 Now, how a family is reunited after never knowing each other. We'll have that story coming up at 5.
Take a look at this. An experienced paraglider in South Korea makes a costly mistake. Mark Honeycutt clearly didn't intend to end up in this tree, but he did. Let's take another look from a different angle. Mark takes off on a gentle slope with very little wind and only a narrow opening between rows of trees. He ends up stuck in the tree canopy. His lines intertwined with the branches. With the help of his girlfriend, he eventually untangles the whole mess. No worse for the wear.
Ouch.
He didn't get very far.
He could tell immediately because that's when the beep happened in the video.
That's when we had to censor the audio. Well, a state lawmaker is looking a little bit different these days.
State Representative Jonathan Brostoff from Milwaukee got a haircut last night for the first time in a year. Last year, he co-authored a bill helping hearing-impaired people in Wisconsin. He promised his supporters that he would not cut off his hair until the bill was passed.
Now it's shorter than his babies.
Aww.
A meteorologist in Cleveland did that, didn't he? He wasn't going to cut his hair or shave until the Browns won a football game.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that was a long time. It was a year and a half.
That's a long time. And that's it's a well-timed haircut because with this humidity, long hair would not do very well. It would kind of puff up everywhere.
Bad hair day every day.
Yeah, exactly. I've had to put on tons of product today just to get through the day. We'll talk about if this humidity will give us any breaks in your first alert forecast in just a few degrees. Good afternoon. I hope you have been having a great Tuesday so far. We've had a lot of sunshine across much of southern Wisconsin on this Tuesday. The area of showers and storms has stayed mostly north of really a lot of the area, but we're starting to see those storms bubble up over the last couple of hours with that heat and humidity building. Right now, they're a little bit closer to Milwaukee, but there is a chance that as a front dips a little bit to the south that we could see the storm chances follow suit as well a couple more storms forming in the last 15 minutes or so, closer to the Dells, north of Lone Rock, in portions of Richland and Vernon counties. So if we do get some storms today, we could see what's called some pulse severe weather. That means when the storms really pulse up, they get strong very quickly, and a lot of times they weaken very quickly as well. So we have to keep our eye out for that. We already saw that scenario play out closer to Milwaukee earlier on this afternoon. As we head into tomorrow, I do think that we also have some more chances for showers and storms, but the chance of the stronger storms will probably be across far southwestern Wisconsin, like in Platteville, where we see some cumulus clouds in the sky, but also plenty of blue sky. On the Queen Bee Radio Skycam, the WISC-TV Skycam in Madison, showing partly sunny skies. We could see those cumulus clouds building in the sky there. Today's high, we did reach 90 for the second time in 2019, so about 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. Still not really that close to the record set back in 2012 of 97 degrees, so it could be worse this time of year. Temperatures in the low 90s in Janesville, mid 80s in Watertown, definitely cooler where those thunderstorms have been building. 80 in Juneau, 88 in Lone Rock, and 90 in Bosquebel and Prairie du Chien as well. You factor in dew points right around 70 degrees. Feels like 95 in Madison, 97 in Janesville. Any triple digits out here? Not yet. We did see some earlier on this afternoon where Platteville was feeling closer to 100 degrees. High temperatures over the next 10 days. We will slowly but surely be getting a little bit cooler. I don't want to use the term cool. Let's say not as warm. How about that? We'll kind of level there because we'll still be in the mid 80s over the next 3 days or so. By the weekend, I think our rain chances clear out of here and temperatures will be in the upper 70s and low 80s. So that's going to feel way different and, in my opinion, way better outside. Less humidity in town by that time as well. Tonight, temperatures once again ending up near about 70 degrees, mild and muggy, maybe some patchy fog late. We could be dealing with some evening thunderstorms across southern Wisconsin. For tomorrow, warm and humid. We do everything all over again. Rinse and repeat with the chance of some showers and thunderstorms, at least in the afternoon hours. So we'll take a look at the chances for some storms on Future Track this evening. A few more showers and storms as that front dips a little bit to the south. I don't think we'll really be looking at widespread severe weather, but a storm or two could be a little bit on the strong side with some gusty winds and small hail. By the time we get to tomorrow, starting off near 70 degrees, a few more showers and thunderstorms could pop up in the afternoon and early evening hours. And for the 4th of July, similar story. Hopefully we can get those showers and storms out of the way early in the afternoon. So by the time we get to the later portions of the day, any fireworks displays that are on the books get off without a hitch. But we will need the umbrella at least for a time or two over the next couple of days. Again, it won't be raining the entire time, but we can't say that it will be dry the entire time either. That actually seems pretty unlikely. However, as we head towards the weekend, as I was mentioning, I don't think we'll see any showers for Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. That's 3 straight dry days. Do we have that right? Can we fact check that real quick? Temperatures near 80, and then as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, those storm chances come back just for a brief bit before temperatures head closer to 80 degrees by the end of next week.
More reasonable.
Yeah, this is a much more reasonable forecast compared to what we started with to start the week.
It is nasty out there.
It's too humid.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
And after all the storms, many people want to go outside, maybe head to the beach, but experts say you should be cautious after rainfall.
The water may have increased levels of bacteria. Siren Bagenda reports from Milwaukee.
Dozens spent their day at Racine's North Beach, ready to soak up the sun.
I love the storms, but it's nice to have some sun too. It gets a little depressing sometimes.
Yes, I don't mind if it storms if I'm at work, but when I'm off, I like these beautiful days.
Julie Kinzelman with Racine's Public Health Department says their beaches are tested 5 days a week for a strain of E. coli.
The E. coli that's in intestines of warm-blooded animals and people, so what we're looking for to see, is there any feces, any waste that could be associated with sewage or with animal or human waste. That's what we're measuring.
Beaches with lots of public use are required by the DNR to test more often. And after a big storm or rainfall, some beaches post advisories, warning people to stay away from the water.
Some places will have preemptive rainfall advisories, so they'll say if there's more than an inch of rain or half inch of a rain, we recommend not swimming for a certain period of time.
Advisories are not uncommon. Here you can see Milwaukee's beaches, like McKinley Beach, was under advisory 41% of the year last year. But Racine is unique. Kinzelman says they're the first in the country to have real-time test results. Milwaukee's health department says their water testing can take up to 18 hours in some cases.
We're able to test in near real time. We can tell you whether or not the water is safe. So when we get the sample at 7, by 10 o'clock we know whether or not people should be able to swim.
And you can always check the quality of Madison lakes by going to the Public Health of Madison and Dane County website.
And still to come at 4 in this heat, a nice cold one might hit the spot. We're not talking about beer, though. We're talking about cold brewed coffee.
Consumer Report says not all cold brewed coffees are equal. They have all the buzz on this when Live at 4 continues. There's a live look westward over Madison. A couple dark clouds.
Yeah, nothing on the radar right now.
No,
but
not yet.
Keep an eye on things.
Dave's keeping an eye on it. Well, for many coffee lovers, this time of the year, summer signals.
You need a little coffee?
I need a little cold brew coffee, apparently. It signals the switch to cold brew. That's the coffee that claims to be smoother and less acidic. And now it's at most coffee shops, as well as you've probably seen it in supermarkets and convenience stores.
In fact, ready-to-drink cold brew sales have exploded over the past few years. But is it healthier than regular coffee? Consumer Reports breaks through the buzz. Leah Lynchide reports.
I'll take a cold brew to go.
Cold brew used to be one of those specialty coffee drinks made by a barista.
In the past 5 years, it's been more and more and more popular. It's nuttier, sweeter, it's less acid.
It typically has a higher caffeine content than regular brewed coffee, and coffee in general has a pretty healthy reputation. Studies have associated drinking coffee with health benefits, like lower risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, and increased longevity. But Consumer Reports says some ready-to-drink cold brews aren't always a smart choice for your health.
Bottled versions are much more convenient for people to drink. But when you start looking at the bottled coffees, sometimes they have milk, they have cream, they have added sugars. Some can even have sodium or other additives.
CR looked at more than 40 ready-to-drink cold brews from 7 different brands and found that the key to picking a healthier ready-to-drink brew is to pay attention to labels.
Black cold brew coffee has few calories because the only thing that's in it is coffee. But when you start looking at the bottled versions that have added sugars and cream and milk and even plant milks, the calorie count can start to climb.
Even ones that say not too sweet can have a fair amount of added sugars per bottle, and more than half of the bottles CR looked at had sodium-containing ingredients, some with as much as these potato chips. So which cold brew bottles are worth all the buzz? To minimize added sugars, choose a black cold brew or one with regular or plant milk that has no or very little added sugars. Consumer Reports says Califia Farms black and white unsweetened cold brew coffee with almond milk and Chameleon cold brew black coffee are worth a try, though Luis prefers the cold brew he makes himself. For News 3 Now, this is Leah Lynchide.
And if you do make a big batch of your own cold brew, it'll keep in your refrigerator for up to 2 weeks.
But the same can't be said of regularly brewed coffee. That starts to go stale shortly after it cools.
So
I'm going to try this.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it.
I think it's just ground coffee and then water, 5 or 6 cups of water, and then it steeps overnight. And then you drain off the grounds.
I'm sure there's a YouTube video we can watch.
We'll see.
So now, if you have a question for Lisa Briggs at the Bruce Company, it's time to pick up the phone.
The number to call is 270-9933. There she is, Lisa, standing by at the Bruce Company. She'll take your calls when Live at 4 continues. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. Here is your Tuesday First Alert traffic update, taking a live look at the Beltline and Todd Drive. We noticed some slow go in both directions, eastbound and westbound, at the 4:45 hour or so. Average speeds on the Beltline anywhere from about 15 to 25 miles per hour, and delays are extending all the way back to about Verona Road, but Verona Road itself not looking too bad right now. And Stoughton Road, some delays as we head northbound, southbound, not looking too bad at the present time. So here are your drive times, everything running just a little bit tardy at the present time. University Ave eastbound to the interstate, that'll cost you about 25 minutes with an average speed of around 40 miles per hour. And that is your First Alert traffic update.
All right, Dave, thank you. An Australian scientist was recently tasked with naming a new species of bee fly. He came up with Paramanovius Night King, an ode to the notorious villain who terrorized the North in Game of Thrones, leading to the epic battle in Winterfell. The aptly named bee fly comes out in winter, features a crown of spine-like hairs. We'll take the bee over the leader of the White Walkers any day. We are now taking your plant and garden questions for Lisa Briggs.
The number to call if you have a question is 270-9933. Lisa is live at the Bruce Company. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Staying cool over there?
Ugh, it's beastly.
All right, we got lots of calls. Let's start with Deb in Blue Mountains. Hi, Deb.
Hi.
What's your question?
My question is, I have a 3 by 3 foot raised garden, and I put a bunch of mulch and dirt in there. And I came to the Bruce Company a couple weeks ago and bought a container of Repels All, and I worked it in, I watered it, and critters still are digging in my garden. I'm trying to figure out what to get rid of them.
Do you know what is doing the bothering of your garden?
I'm thinking either raccoons or squirrels. It's always at night.
Okay. So they're more digging than they are chomping.
Correct. Only digging.
You might have to put up like a quick little fence. If they're getting in there and digging, probably just a couple of stakes at the corners of your bed and some chicken wire should take care of it.
Okay, I will try that.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thank you for calling today. Let's go to Jamie in Deerfield. Hi, Jamie. What's your question?
Hi, my question is, I purchased a whole bunch of beautiful hanging pots in spring, and now they're getting kind of leggy and flat on top. Should I be pruning them as they're growing or not?
Yes, as your hanging basket plants are starting to cascade, you can certainly trim them up to keep them from getting too long, and then also that will help branch out, especially if you do some cutting back at the top. That'll kind of fluff up the top a little bit.
Okay, let's go to Terry now in Lodi. Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Hi, what's your question?
We have a lot of those little brown spots on the grass, and with all the rain, is that because of all the rain? We're real sandy out here, but all of a sudden we just have all these little brown spots on the grass.
Little brown spots are usually a sign of like a fungal problem. So there are different ones that look different depending on the fungus itself. Bring a sample into the store or into your local garden center if you're not from Madison, and they can take a look at it and then advise you the best.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right.
Let's go to Steve in Wanakee. Hi, Steve. What's your question?
Hi, my question's about Japanese beetles. In previous years, I have had just swarms and swarms of them, and they have decimated my roses. This year, I've had the most gorgeous roses ever, and not a Japanese beetle in sight.
Wow.
I didn't do anything, and I'm wondering if conditions or the winter or the wet spring or what may be causing this.
Well, I don't think that the winter weather got cold enough, deep enough into the ground to knock back the population. But I know that the cooler spring has meant that they're a little bit behind schedule. Beetles and all kinds of critters and plants too pay attention to accumulated heat in the atmosphere, not to the calendar month. And although we usually see them by the 4th of July, I think they're a little bit late this year. So enjoy your roses while you can, but I would certainly be prepared to treat them with whatever product you use. You can do the spray, you can pick them off, or there's some systemic products that you can use as well.
So they're probably on their way.
They're on their way. I think Stephanie said today she saw her first one.
Great.
So that's the first
Just
report
when we
heard.
thought we were.
Winter's coming, right?
I do not think we're going to get away with no Japanese beetles this year.
All right, let's go to Mike in Verona. Hi, Mike.
Hello there, Lisa.
I have
Hi.
a question for you regarding my redbud trees. I have
Okay.
two trees that are between the ages of probably 6 years and 10 years, and neither one has ever blossomed. Is it a fact of ground soil? Go ahead.
They're in the ground?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you say they were? Because this is a little staticky.
Redbud. They have the
Redbud.
little purple flowers
I'm sorry.
on the stems.
Redbud.
So, red buds. Okay. So, red buds. So sometimes a hard winter will knock them back. And you've never had flowers?
Never.
Never had flowers. Boy, they are slow to flower when you plant them, but not that slow. Sometimes if they're in a location where they're really exposed to winter winds, that might be knocking back the flower buds. They don't require a lot of sun, so I don't think that's it. 2-3 hours should be enough to spur flower bud production. What I would be careful of is if you're doing any kind of pruning, you would want to do it early in the spring. If they were flowering like right after they're done flowering, if you're doing some pruning kind of late in the summer just to clean things up, you might be taking flower buds off. And finally, you could do a little bit of fertilizer that's meant to spur flower bud production. So a fertilizer where the last 2 numbers of those 3 numbers are higher than the first number. See if that helps.
Okay.
All right, very good. Let's go to Lori in Cambridge. Hi, Lori, what's your question?
Yes, I'm calling about my peonies. They have a mildewy, white mildew on them.
Yep.
And I was just wondering what I can use for that.
What you have is powdery mildew, and again, this is going to be a big year for fungus because it's so damp. So what you need to do is spray a fungicide. There are lots of different fungicides on the market. I like the biologic ones. There's one called Revitalize and one called Serenade, and they have a little bit of a preventative. So spray the one that's where you're seeing the effect of the fungus, and then spray all of them. And that should help. It'll arrest the development of the fungus on the one that's affected and should keep it back from any that are not showing signs yet.
Does it hurt the plant, the fungus?
No, powdery mildew is a fungus that likes the plant to be living, so it just looks terrible. The thing that's bad about it is that it has a super sophisticated overwintering structure. So if you leave leaf litter on the ground and you don't clean up after you've had a bad powdery mildew year, then it can reinfect the following year. So make sure that when the season is done, that you cut your peonies back all the way and get that affected tissue out of there, so you won't re-inoculate next year.
All right. Good questions as usual,
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks for your
calling in.
calls, everybody.
Thank you, Lisa, for your time. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy 4th.
We'll have a final check of your forecast coming up.
Ready to roll playback.
Things are starting to pop up out there.
Yeah, the popcorn is done in the microwave for some of us. So we are watching a couple of storms form across southern Wisconsin. The only severe storm is about to expire near Milwaukee, but we have enough energy in the atmosphere to get some of these storms to pulse up really quickly. So keep an eye to the sky, especially during the early evening hours.
They can form right overhead.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll keep an eye on things. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Well, Madison has concerts